What's going on, Alamo City Movie Talk fans? As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. and Ryan680.
I'm Angela, that's Ange.
And this is Alamo City Movie Talk, guys. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. You know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. But let's get right to it. Before we get into today's review, we're about to hit up tomorrow's the last day of June. And
already?
That's it, baby. The month of Superman. It's less than 2 weeks away. I'm so excited. That's why I'm wearing the cap. I'm going to be wearing Superman stuff throughout this whole next week. So pretty much we're about a week away from me seeing it. I know you're about still like another week and a day. So we're seeing on 2 separate days. So the press, the official press is a week away. Literally tomorrow will be Monday, a week away. Cannot wait. So excited. Anticipating a lot of expectations there. But I have pretty much high expectations going into Superman. But anyways, really excited for Superman. I don't know if you put in comments down below, guys, if you are as well. But let's get right to it. Without further ado, Angela, what movie are we talking about today? Apple TV movie, Apple film that, we've always have loved Apple projects. From Ted Lasso, The Morning Show, great writing, great Ted Lasso stories, and so we've come to really enjoy Apple TV a lot, and they're quality over quantity, different metrics than Netflix that puts out just a lot of quantity. And I've been seeing a lot of people talk bad about the last Squid Game that just came out, and so I've been seeing that where, like, you know how that's like a masterpiece in the last, it's like the scribble. Yeah. So I've been seeing that a lot on Twitter. But anyways, what are we talking about today, Angela?
Yeah. So definitely a few more movies to squeeze in before Superman. I agree. So we are reviewing an Apple TV movie.
Yeah.
And in the past, we've generally liked a lot of the Apple projects that have come out, both TV shows and movies.
Yeah, Severance as well.
I agree. Yeah. It is very much quality over quantity. I haven't really had a bad thing to say about any Apple project. Yeah. And Netflix, the powerhouse, it's a hit or miss with them. So yeah. I am super excited that this one got a theatrical release.
100%.
Super excited for that. But we are reviewing today F1, the movie. So a Formula One driver comes out of retirement to mentor and team up with a younger driver. So I know this stars the two drivers, Brad Pitt and Damson Idris. What were your first thoughts coming out of this film? I know it was a little bit on the longer side, but what were your first impressions coming out of this film?
Very, very exciting. It really was right after the film ended. We saw it different states. I just saw it here at home. I was at work working out in Louisiana, so I saw it in IMAX formats. But I gotta say though, things are bigger in Texas, and the screen wasn't this is my perception of the theater. It's a little bit older theater, and to me that really wasn't IMAX. Even the sound, I guess you could say the theater experience wasn't the standards that I was used to, I guess. I don't know. Take that whatever you will. Sure. But it's still an engaging, freaking stunning camera angle work of a film. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. The camera angles is what did it for me. I really enjoyed that. I thrive on seeing different camera angles that are so different, even more so with like more sporting films, like especially like this one. Another one would say Ford versus Ferrari and everything. So a lot of people compared it to, is this better than Ford versus Ferrari? And I'm going to say this. So Ford versus Ferrari was an underdog story. Same thing with this one in a way. And so this movie is F1 is more like it goes up and then it goes down, then it goes up and then it goes down. And it's kind of the spirit of the film where the obstacles they go through, the catastrophes they go through, and the nonstop problems that they encounter. Now with Ford versus Ferrari, there are problems, but they all of them are most upfront in the beginning, first act of the film, and then it gets big. It gets like a little step up.
More dramatic.
So it gets really, really good. You start feeling the growth there. You start feeling Christian Bale. You start feeling the in-depth of Ford versus Ferrari. John Berthal's in there as well. Matt Damon. Yeah. Shelby. And so you really get to see that a lot. You really get to see their dynamic together because it focuses a lot on them too, right? So, and again, it was based on a true story. So this one is an original film, an Apple TV original film directed by John Krasinski, which we know John Krasinski. We know him from so many other projects. And so one of the things I'm going to say this and make it very, very clear, is it better than Ford versus Ferrari? I'm going to say no, but But here's the thing. It's an original film that's this close to beating Ford versus Ferrari, in my opinion. This close. And the reason being is because I feel like the runtime was a little bit, I don't want to say it was dragging, but there was definitely like 15 minutes I could have taken out of this movie. But at the same time, though, this film really relies solely on, of course, Brad Pitt. It relies solely on the breakout star himself. So the main headliner here, which is Idris. Let me see here. Damson Idris. So he was fantastic in this movie. Yeah. I loved his acting in here. I haven't really seen him in too many things. But of course, everyone knows, right, Brad Pitt. But Brad Pitt he's aged like fine wine, man. He looks great. Everything looks fantastic with him.
So has Javier.
Javier was really cool, man. I liked that little dynamic there. I just didn't believe him and Brad Pitt. I don't know, whatever. Take that however you will. But I really liked this movie. It had the momentum of, like Top Gun Maverick, movies like that just had that uplifting story. But again, though, I feel like it got too soap opera-ish, and it was just kind of getting in the way of things, because it's like, all right, we're working, and then oh my god, that happened to him too. And so it was just I don't know. Call it whatever you will. Call me crazy. Say, Ryan, what the F, dude? I don't know what you're talking about, but that's my take there. I really enjoyed this film. Not to say this is a terrible movie. No, it's not. It's a fantastic movie. I just didn't love it as much as other people did. But Angela, I want to know your take. What did you think of this movie?
It's funny you mentioned Top Gun Maverick, because the director, Joseph Kosinski, he directed Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
So I agree. It has like those really, really nice story. It was a little bit too dramatic. Yeah, sure. But I think that's what made it fun. Overall, I agree. I think the cast, from Brad Pitt, from Damson to Javier, even to Carrie Condon, who was the one designing the car. Mm-hmm. All of them were fantastic. So I will say, the cast did such good job.
Yeah.
You 100%. Do recognize a whole bunch of other faces in here too. They had such a great cast. Apple usually really does. I agree. The story kind of got dragged out a little bit. You can feel it. It is a 2.5 hour film, and you can feel it in certain parts. But definitely don't let it sway you. I think it was shot beautifully. I think the scenes, like the emotional pieces, were there. I really, really enjoyed this film. I would definitely recommend people see it, take a chance on it. Like you say, especially if you like racing movies or just sports movies in general. But if you liked like Ford v Ferrari, I think you'll really like this one too. Even that one with the Ferrari one that Adam Driver came back out.
That was a great one too. See, and that's the thing too. I really, it's just that movie was more dramatic. It was more of like the obstacles they're going through with Ferrari, where it started. And I love stories like that. And it just, again, but that's based on a true story. This one wasn't. This was based on nothing. It was an original film.
I still really liked it.
It was still a great. That's the thing too. People say Hollywood come up with original films. Well, this is an original film, and I feel like that they really rarely will come this close to based on true story movies, or even the fact that.
I mean,
this movie's still good. This film's so good, so grand, and one of the key things I forgot to mention was it's actually the score, which is Hans Zimmer. But here's the thing. Here's the thing with that.
I could tell it. Okay, I could tell it.
You can, but in my point of opinion, I was trying to think about it. I was like thinking more about in this movie, but in this particular film, there was no like sticking out score that was like, oh my god, I'm gonna remember that, or I'm gonna download that.
I see what you mean. Like, so yeah, because like
not like BVS, not like Man of Steel.
Yeah, so there's like the iconic Inception. Like Pirates of the Caribbean, like you say, Man of Steel. Yeah. There's that iconic
Inception
song that ties to that movie.
Well, not just I mean yes, to that movie, but more so to like a scene in that movie too. Like people like hear it. Just you hear the score. I mean, Oppenheimer's a different composer, but still, it just like that scene, and it triggers you. Something like a movie, a sound, and it triggers you to that scene. And I just love how he does such fantastic work on that. But I still recognized it right away. But then it was like a mixture of that with the music, with regular rap music, pop music, or whatever you want to call it. And I didn't like the way it kind of transitions into that. I thought it was a little weird, but hey, I liked it. Whatever. Angela loved it, right? Angela loved it.
I like the music.
Yeah.
But again, I
love the music too. It was just like, okay, we're about to see some deep emotions, and then it's like boom, bam. But again, it works. It works in certain places, and I gotta say, it just a little bit different for me, and not say that it didn't work, but again, that's just me nitpicking a little bit. But yeah.
Overall, I think it was a really enjoyable film.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, there were just some moments that I could feel it kind of being like, I knew going in it was a longer film. And you could kind of feel it in some places, but really not enough to deter me. I definitely would see it again.
Oh, yeah.
Again, I think the cast was great, and I'm really, really glad, again, Apple chose to release this in theaters before on their platform.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And it paid off. I think they got
paid off. Yeah, so I'm going to go into that. So box office, guys. So it debuted with $55.6 million in U.S. and Canada domestic and 144 globally. This is Apple's by far most successful theatrical release to date. See, here's the thing with me. This is going to open the star door. This is going to open the Stargate, the gates of money. Should streaming movies, and again, Netflix CEO is against this. He's like, our movies, we don't make movies. The theaters are a dying chain. He said that like a month or two ago. And I was just like, shut the fuck up. I was just in my head. I was like, shut the fuck up. Look, this is proven right here, if not more so, that movie, like streamers, Amazon Prime, Netflix, Apple, these streaming companies can make theater movies and have them premiere like a weekend or two and make a shitload of money. But here's the thing though, I'm comparing it to a studio who makes quality over quantity, like Netflix motto, quantity is shit sometimes, a lot of it is, and versus quality, which we get Apple TV, and it's like, man, I love that scene. Or like, I remember that. Like, just Shrinking's another, talks about man's with psychology, like the therapy, how therapy is like frowned upon with the male, and so it goes very deep in emotions, and I love it when they take risk like that, and you rarely see that with Netflix. Netflix does really good on documentaries lately. They've been really killing on documentaries. I'm just waiting for the next Stranger Things, honestly, and I think they're prolonging it because they realize like this is their last big project. And
Netflix has had good originals, like Bridgerton's another original that's gone 3 seasons and it'll still go more.
Yeah, but it's not as long as Stranger Things.
Exactly, but I'm saying like they have other stuff, other very popular projects that they can fall back on. Yeah. It just really is like a hit or miss with them. Whereas Apple TV, most of the time, the shows or the movies or whatever content's released on their Apple TV Plus subscription is pretty prime quality.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it's definitely not enough to rival like Hulu or Disney Plus or Netflix,
because you don't have that much options. Yeah, but still,
I think I really appreciate the time and effort it takes to choose what's being released. Like you say, quality over quantity. Yeah. And I think a lot appreciate appreciate that about Apple. Yeah, and they spare no expense again. And
speaking of that, spare no expense. So this movie was shot at real race events with collaborations from F1 teams and FIA teams. So yeah, FIA teams.
So when you put that much effort into research and background and making the story right, I think it shows. I think people will show up for it.
Yeah. Oh no, I saw a lot of people like loving this movie. A lot of people are like, after leaving F1, they're like trying to raise it.
I know, it definitely pumps you up.
So here's the thing so I didn't get to see it with the full crowd. I think it was only like seven other people in there. So but here's the thing with me, guys. All right, here's the thing. So comparing it back to when we saw Fast and Furious, I think it was me and you went to go see it. We were dating at the time. Went to go see it at the Draft House. Oh, Draft House Westlake, rest in peace. So one of the key movies, Westlake, I love that. Anyways, if you're in San Antonio, you know what we're talking about. But I'm gonna go really fast. Sorry, I'm gonna talk really fast, guys. So one of the things I do want to say is that on the Fast and Furious movie, I think it was the last one. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't even know which one it was. It was the one where they're stealing the bank safe, and it was the last one Brian was in. The character, which we know, Paul. Thank you. So Paul Walker, and he passed away, and it was sudden. It was horrible, and I just. Whenever the very end of that movie, that's such high note of a film. They really wrote off his character very, very well, heartwarming. And as soon as we left the theater, what were people doing? They got out the theater. Remember, you got out of the theater, and they were just all. They were just like, it never fails. All these factory,
these Honda
cars, and you could just. I was like, bro, what the hell? And a Jeep. I was like, oh my god. So, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. When movies do that. Psychologically, when they do that to you, but implant that idea in your brain, it's so mesmerizing because how much of an effect, how much of influence movies infect us, influence us to our daily lives, and I fucking love that. And so that's why I was just like, dude, I guarantee people were talking about this. So that's what I go for. This is the reason why I talk about movies. This is the reason why I have such a huge passion for this. But remember that I was just like, oh my God. But yeah, I just, when they influence you to buy a certain product, where they influence you in films, TV shows, they influence you to buy certain things. A documentary when I saw with oh my gosh, Patrick Mahomes, and I had his shoes wearing. He was wearing his shoes, and I was like, dude, and he's wearing his gear. I was like, dude, I had to buy the shoes. I was like, damn,
you sure do have
yeah.
some.
So again, that's just a walking.
We're not even Chiefs fans.
Yeah,
we're just Patrick Mahomes fans.
Yeah, it's just me. I'm the Patrick Mahomes fans. But anyways, with going back into what my original thinking was. Sorry to drift away from the conversation, but going back to this movie, I had a grand time watching this film. It was still good. It wasn't the IMAX I expected, whatever. But still, that my point is, after talking about ranting all over that, my point is that movies influence every single day of our lives. We're about to see Jurassic World tomorrow, so I'm expecting to have. I expected to have a good time watching that movie, but my expectations is very high for that movie too at the same time. So it's because of the fact that I loved Jurassic World, Jurassic Park.
And also speaking from the last Jurassic World Dominion, we didn't really step out of the theater loving that one, even though they brought back the original cast.
Yeah, I did not like that movie.
Dr. Alan Grant again. But I'm a little hesitant. I do see this one having promise because of the cast. You know, you have ScarJo, you have Mahershala Ali, you have, of course, Jonathan Bailey. The cast looks promising. I love all of them. But I am a little nervous for this one, guys. I'm not going to lie. Right. So coming off of the heels of F1, it was such a great, movie. We also saw recently on Netflix the K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah.
That was great. So I am a little nervous. I'm hoping we kind of stay on that positive note.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But overall, this film, if you're still on the fence, if you're not sure, I recommend it. My rating for the F1, I give it a solid 7.75.
I thought you would be higher, honestly.
Yeah, no, okay. I really, really liked it. Is it quite an 8? Maybe not, just a little bit. Again, I felt the 2.5 hour business. It's not like the time flew by. Yeah, we sat in 3-hour movies and the time flies by.
Oppenheimer.
But overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it was a really uplifting, inspiring movie. Do I agree with you? Yes, there are certain points where I think they had a little bit too much of, oh, this has gone wrong. Now there's no hope. Oh, wait, no, and there it is. Now it's gone wrong again. So I think there's a little bit more of that. It was just a teensy bit dramatic, too dramatic. But overall, the cast did great. The crew did great. It was shot beautifully. I do recommend people show up and support this film before it goes on to Apple TV Plus. So if you have an opportunity to see it, definitely do. I think it's going to be worth your while. 100%. Yes, it's definitely going to be worth seeing in the theater format.
All right, I'm gonna give it a solid 7 out of 10, guys. Again, this is not as great as Ford vs Ferrari, but it's still very, very close. And I love how this is an original movie. We need more original films out there, and I still had a pleasant time watching this movie. Just my theater experience wasn't as great, but again, though, it's not to give credit when it's due, and the movie definitely did really great shots, and the sound, everything with the story. I feel like it was a little soap opera-ish at the end, but still, I still had a good time watching this movie. So 7 out of 10, guys. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think of this film and everything? And let us know what's, we're in the middle of, we're 6 months in this year and 6 months left.
Yeah, we are going to be, we are in full-blown midsummer. It's going to be July. Things are going to be kicking up. The heat's going to get hotter. I just hope everyone, now that they have this really nice break, all the kids are out, families can get together, definitely start going to the movies.
Oh yeah, Jurassic Park. I mean, we got 3 weeks three weeks straight. So this week is Jurassic World, and then the following week Superman, and the following week after that, no wait, it's 2 more weeks, or July 25th is Fantastic Four. So yeah, definitely a great summer.
A lot of great blockbusters July. Coming out.
July. Let's go, baby. All right, guys. Thank you so much. You know what to do, guys. Like and share and subscribe. As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. Ryan 680.
I'm Angela at that Kelly Ange.
This is Alamo City Movie Talk, guys. You know what to do. Catch you later. See you at the movies. Peace.